Welcome, everybody. You know, this is the sports show on ASU-TV, the one where we're all hanging on by a thread, but nevertheless, we're doing good work here. It's obviously Pros versus Joe, the show where we pit our pro or our student athlete against our very average Joe. And I, of course, as usual, will be your host, Zach Ward. And for this week, our sport of focus is soccer, but unfortunately, due to some circumstances, our pro is out sick. So, you're getting a very special one-on-one episode with our very own Joe, of course, who is right here to my right. Welcome, Joe. How does it feel to be the center of attention?
Shucks, Zach. I'm blushing.
That was not the response I expected. But anyway, now, of course, we'll get to the soccer questions in a little bit because this is still a soccer episode. But I do want to get kind of a general impression. What's it like being in your shoes, Joe?
I mean, these are Nikes. They're a size 9.5. They seem like pretty average shoes to me. I think that they've got a little more.
No, I meant your metaphorical shoes. Like, what's your life like? How do you see the world?
I see the world as there are people who are good at sports, and then there's me. You're either good or you're Joe.
Is that like average? Because normally we advertise you as being average Joe. So do you think there's people worse than average, or is there just good and then average?
No, yeah, good and average seems to sum it up.
Okay.
You can't really tell much of a difference between average and not good when you're playing against a pro. Everything is either pro or Joe.
That's a very interesting way to look at life, I will say. Now, tell me, where did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
I grew up in a house. I was fortunate enough to have one of those.
Yeah, of course.
I do have two parents. Fortunate to have both of them.
Yeah.
Got dog. You know about dog.
Yeah, that was...
He's my dog.
I really enjoyed that backstory.
Yeah, that's about what it's like living the life of Joe.
I don't know what else I expected. It's pretty average, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's your perspective on sports? Have you always played sports? Have you always watched sports? You know, what's your history like?
Well, growing up, we didn't have a TV in the house, nor did we have a radio. So my only exposure to sports came through like cereal boxes where they had athletes on them.
Wheaties.
We had sports in school probably. I never went to any. I think I heard about them. I did play some pee-wee football, I think, but I was too young to know what I was doing.
Weren't we all?
Yeah, I think that about covers my my exposure to sports.
Okay. Now, I think I have to ask, if you were a pro at something, maybe we'll say a sport, but a pro at really anything, what would you advertise yourself as?
Man, I think I would advertise myself as a pro at getting dressed.
Okay.
I've never once not gotten dressed in the morning.
Really?
That's true, Zach.
I mean, to be fair, that's also never happened to me, but...
Hey, in this world, you're either a pro or you're a Joe. I just happen to be a pro at this one.
I feel like that's going to be the tagline of this episode.
You know, it just might be, but there are some people who are Joes at getting dressed in the morning.
Right.
And I'm not one of them.
Oh, okay. Wow. Despite the fact that your name is Joe, you're not a Joe at...
Well, my name is Joseph.
Oh.
Not many people bother to ask me that, but my name is Joseph. And
are you more commonly referred to as Joe or Joseph?
People just kind of assume I'm a Joe.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
If I'm just talking to myself, I usually call myself Joseph.
Oh. How does that usually go? Like, are they just like normal conversations or?
Yeah, I mean, The only other person I talk to aside from you is really myself and Dog.
Yeah.
Dog's not a person. Dog's a dog.
I'm sure he's a good listener, though.
Oh, he sure is. But yeah, it's pretty much just me, Joseph, and you. Those are the people I have conversations with.
Is that you talking to Joseph, or is that
Oh yeah,
Joe,
Joseph talks back to me when
Joe
I talk
talking to Joseph?
Joe don't talk.
Okay. He's the silent type, or is that the kind of dynamic?
Joe doesn't make appearances
Really?
unless he's talking to you, because you call me Joe.
Right.
The show calls me Joe.
Well, I mean, that's what you are. You're a Joe.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'd just like to be a Joseph, though.
Mm-hmm.
Or a prosif. It's like a pro.
But that's only getting dressed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a prosif at getting dressed.
Does that include your shoes that you described earlier?
Yeah, I tied them myself.
Really?
Yeah. See this? Look at this. It's a freshly tied shoe right there.
You are very proud of that. I would be too if I was that pro at tying shoes, I guess, is how it would be described. Now, what's it been like? I guess we'll kind of do like a look back over these past several episodes. What's been your experience so far?
Yeah, Zach, I got more exposure in these past few weeks to sports than I ever thought I would. I've learned a lot. I've met so many people. It's really been an honor to be on this show. I mean, it does feel like it was designed to where I would lose, but it's been pretty good. I got to learn a lot, play a lot. I probably worked out more in the past 6 weeks than I ever have before. So
I just assumed you were the type that normally worked out, just regularly.
no.
Oh. Well, in that case, what do you normally do with your spare time?
I mostly just stare at a wall,
Oh.
analyze wall patterns. That's kind of my speciality.
What kind of wall pattern?
Well,
Like paint?
if you look behind me, like you can see all the textures on the wall.
Okay.
I like to look at all the textures and find patterns in them if there are.
Interesting.
See different configurations. See what kind of tools they might have used to flatten out the textures there.
So would you say you're an aspiring, maybe not an architect, but like a construction, specifically with walls kind of guy?
That might be an accurate representation.
Interesting. Well, I think we're still going to use our video from the outdoor competition that you guys so effortlessly put so much heart and soul into. Now, it was a little brisk out there, I will say, now that I think about it, and obviously you might be able to tell from the video, but I will ask you, what was it like being out in the bitter weather competing?
It was pretty cold out there. My hands were numb. My face was numb. I think that's about all there is to say.
Gotcha. Well, if that's the case, we don't have anything else to say. Let's go ahead and roll the video. Welcome, everybody. As you can see, we're out here on the soccer fields getting ready for our outdoor portion of the episode. It's a bit of a brisk, windy day today. It's a little nippy, but I will say we're here, we're excited, and we're ready to get down to it. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce our competitors. On my left here is our pro, Dana, and on my right, of course, the man who's been introduced many times at this point, Joe. It's good to have you both out here. Sorry to drag you out in such cold weather, but hopefully it won't be too bad. But anyway, for our competitions, we'll be doing a couple challenges. We'll be doing a dribbling, kind of a speed dribbling competition to see who can get to point A from point A to point B the fastest. And then for our second competition, we'll be doing a kind of a penalty kick shooting and defending competition. So I'm interested to see how it'll turn out. Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, we've changed scenery once again. That was a bit of a one-sided video, I will say, unfortunately. But I think you gave effort, and that's what matters.
I got a lot of good plays in there, Zach. I don't know that it was completely one-sided.
Okay, I think it's your opinion. I think you however you feel about it.
I think I did well.
Very well. Now, normally what we would have is our in-studio challenge where Joe here challenges our pro to kind of a simpler version of their own game to try to bring them down to his level. But obviously, with our pro not being here, I have stepped in to challenge Joe because, we wouldn't want him getting bored or anything. So I think I'll test my skills at basically the same thing as regular soccer, but possibly more competitive, obviously, foosball. What do you say, first to three?
First to three sounds fair.
All right, then let's go ahead and get to it. Whoa. Aha. That one just went straight through. I didn't even go into the bucket there. All right, here we go. Number 2. Ha.
Ha-ha.
All right, okay, all right. Don't get too big of a head there, Joe. All right. Listen here, bud. I'm gonna need you to calm down a little bit. This is, I don't know who you think you are. Coming on to my show and try. Come on, man. That's just self-sabotage.
That feels bad.
No. I don't want that point. That's pity. I don't take pity points here, bud. I'm gonna beat you fair and square. Nope. Well, nope. Okay. All right.
That there
I don't.
is 3 points.
You know what, bud?
What?
Who do? Just cut it. Just cut. We're done. We're done here. I'm done. I can't.
I won.
Nope, I can't.
I guess from those of us here at Pros versus Joe,